All right, y'all. We're in the middle of summer, but we got fall coming up, the 25-26 school year. What's the prospectus on the basketball teams and at Gardendale? And we'll start out with Holly.
Yeah, so we only lost one senior from last year's team. They got 20 wins and went to the Sweet 16 of 6A Northwest Regional. So to have four starters back and the bulk of the team back, definitely a lot of excitement. We had a good June. Our play dates in June looked really good. Everybody's just really comfortable together. And so I've got a senior and Taylor Henry who's been with me since sixth grade, and then Layla's group in is juniors, and then I've got a solid group of sophomores, Asia Jones, and so I'm really excited about the team that I have coming back, and like I said, I feel like we'll just continue where we left off last year.
Yeah. Any cool travel opportunities for you guys or any mid-season tournaments that
So
you're looking
last year
forward
we went
to?
to the beach. We went to Gulf Shores and finished runner up in Gulf Shores tournament. So this year we're going to take it easy and not.
Go to the mountains. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we looked into that. So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll
Yeah.
see. But
Egypt, something like that.
exactly, yeah, we'll look into that. Just staying local this
Yeah.
year. Yeah,
Okay.
we host our own Christmas tournament. Been doing that every year, and that's a big hit. And then just looking to do some other. There's a lot of great local girls basketball in the Birmingham
Yeah.
area. So probably just stay local this year.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Chris, tell us about your team coming up.
Yeah, so we're kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum. 2 years removed from a team that won 20 games and went to the Northwest Regional. Last year, we lost 9 seniors, had 3 seniors from last year's team, and those three obviously graduated, and 2 of them were our leading scorers. So we used the summer to try and just kind of put guys in varsity spots to kind of see who's ready for varsity level basketball. We will bring back 3 seniors on this year's team, so we had 3 juniors. So limited experience, like I said, but we've got some sophomores and rising freshmen that we think are going to be really huge pieces. But it's just going to take some time to get them acclimated to 6A basketball and kind of how we do things and just the grind that is our area with Clay Chalkville and Pinson.
Yeah.
Pinson being in the 6A
Challenging,
championship
yeah.
game. Clay Chalkville was ranked in the top 3 all year. So that's very, very tough. So just getting guys early in the preseason and in the early part of our schedule, getting other guys prepared for what that's going to be like.
And I'll ask you the same question. Any mid-season tournaments or special travel dates that you're looking forward
Yeah,
to?
well, like she said, we host a Christmas tournament. Thanksgiving-wise, we still have not set those plans as far as what we're going to do tournament-wise Thanksgiving. We also went to Gulf Shores last year, so we've got a couple of options that we're looking into for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But everything will be in the Birmingham area.
Yeah. Now y'all have got a very unique situation. I mean, you're the head boys coach, you're the head girls coach, but also to add another element to that, I mean, your daughter is playing, Layla.
Yeah.
So I want to know about what that's like. I want to know about kind of the dynamic of y'all at Gardendale, but also the dynamic of having and she's an elite player. I mean, I know her sophomore year, she averaged like 20 points a game, probably getting recruited by a lot of schools, so tell us what that's like. What are the challenges? What are the benefits? How do y'all handle that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely tougher than people may realize. They may think it's so easy, for us and for her. But I know from her perspective anyway, as someone who also played for a parent, it's really tough. I mean, she's under the microscope by everybody and everything. I'm definitely a lot harder on her. I know I am. I expect a
Harder
lot.
on her than Chris?
Probably so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think
All right.
dads and daughters have a different dynamic than moms and
Yeah.
daughters. He's harder on the boys. I'm harder on her.
Okay.
And so when she had both of us kind of coaching, and she has that also in the spring and summer, he can kind of be a buffer. But lately it's just been me and her, and I know that I challenge her and I push her, and hopefully it's made her better for it. I know mentally she's super strong.
Yeah.
She handles adversity very well. She doesn't really show emotion too high or too low, and that's something as a basketball player that can really take you
Yeah.
to the next level. But I do think it's hard on her, and I think she hears from us, not just here, at school, but then when we go home and then on the weekends, and then there's no really like,
No break,
yeah.
really.
I
Yeah.
mean, she can come
Yeah.
out in the kitchen at any given time, and he's got film pulled up,
Rebound.
right?
Yeah.
Like, look at this. What were you
Yeah.
thinking right here?
Right. Yeah.
So, for a 16-year-old to, that's
Yeah.
all she knows. That's
Yeah.
all she knows. But I do think that she has a very special gift, and she will be playing for other people at some point.
Yeah.
And I hope that what she's gotten from each of us, separately and together, will make her be able
Yeah.
to succeed for everything.
Now, are you harder on her than the other players?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah.
I coach my son's we were talking about this before we went on. I coached my son's 600 baseball team and then his basketball team, and this past year, and I mean, I was harder on him than anybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, and I guess it's just like a parent thing.
Yeah.
And have you gotten harder on her? I know you coached her before. I mean, are you harder on her now than you were when she was younger?
Yeah, probably so, because I do know her potential, and so I know if she's not, kind of reaching that potential. We say a lot to her. We just got back from Louisville. We were at the Elite 40 National Championship, and I'll just hear, him yelling things that are like, "Quit jogging, you're jogging."
Yeah.
If we know her,
Yeah,
she's not
yeah.
going full speed,
Yeah.
we call her out on it. And whereas, we got 7 other girls out there, they may be jogging too, but we're not going to be yelling at them
Right,
as
right,
much.
right.
And we're hard on everybody. I do think I'm tough. And if you ask my girls, they would say, definitely tough, demand a lot. But being a former college player and knowing I have several girls that have potential to play at the next level, I want to make sure that I do
Yeah.
everything to get them ready for that.
Well, let's do the flip side of that. What is the thing about her that makes y'all the most proud?
Well, like she mentioned how mentally tough she is.
Yeah.
Like when she was younger and Hollywood, I mean, it was after every game she's crying, which is I guess the emotions of a female, first of all. But, now as she's gotten older, I mean, just watching her handle success and handle adversity, just that mental toughness. I mean, that's, as a player, a lot of kids, or at least it was either good game or bad game. There was no, I start off missing my first 5 shots and then I make the next 5. But Layla seems to have that.
Yeah.
Nothing phases her. You know what I mean? Like it's just
Yeah.
she's able, short-term memory. She's able to forget things that are negative, and next play mentality.
Yeah.
She has that, and I
Yeah.
think that's a quality to me that I think is something that she's one of her best assets.
Yeah. Holly, what about you?
Yeah, for sure. Everything he said. And then also, I think she's a quiet leader. She's not super vocal. I wish she'd be a little more vocal sometimes, but she is a quiet leader. She leads by example, and she can get fired up. She loves to see her teammates be successful. Definitely wants to win more than anything.
Yeah.
And as a kid who hasn't had social media, she's not pumping herself out there.
Yeah.
She's not bragging. People ask her, of course, after a game, how many points you have? She literally doesn't even know.
Yeah.
And I will say that is genuine and that is real.
Yeah.
She wants to win. If we don't win and she scores, 20 something, she doesn't care.
Yeah.
So that's another thing I think that makes her a great teammate and makes her someone who anybody would want on their team, because she is 100% team first.
How much y'all think, and I've dealt with as an athlete, y'all have dealt with as athletes and now parents, but I mean, how much do you think that parental influence has on an athlete? I mean, like, you can push them too far, you can put too much pressure on them, or you can not put any pressure on them at all. If you show up at the games, if you don't show up at the games, I mean, how much does that impact a player's performance?
Well, I think it does. I was talking to some parents a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about kids' success, and particularly in basketball. When you come home after a game, the first question somebody's going to ask you, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, whoever, was if you won or lost the game. And then the second question is going to be how many points you have.
Yeah.
Right? So those are the only 2 things that matter. Did you win and how many did you have?
That's performance-based questions.
Performance-based, but is scoring points the only way you can help your team be successful?
Right.
I mean, everyone, just like in our jobs, we all have a role. In a business, in a company, and if we're all doing our job, then our company's going to succeed. And it may be that you didn't score any points, but you defended, you rebounded, and I think parents having that understanding of what our jobs as coaches are, trying to get guys to understand what their roles are, and to buy into those roles. And then sometimes parents can, hey, how many points you have? Why aren't you getting to shoot? You know what I mean? When the other guys may be more successful in certain areas, it's getting the kids to buy into the role and getting the parents.
Yeah. Now, was Alan tough on you? How was that dynamic?
He was. I mean, he was tough. You know, I always felt like I was never as good as him. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I
played at Walker College.
Well, I mean, I can be honest. I can remember going back and I remember this. We're 8th grade, practice ends, and, you know, parents didn't come in practice, but they're there to pick you up. Yeah. So they're kind of hanging outside the doors. And I remember being in 7th or 8th grade in the old Maddox Middle School gym, and practice ends, and a ball rolling over toward the door, and one of the players on the team, hey, Mr. Berry, dunk one for us. Mr. Berry, dunk one for us. And this is so, you know, I was 8th grade. I don't know. My dad's in his mid to late 40s. I mean, he runs out there and throws one down with 2 hands. And to this day, I've never. Well, I mean, maybe throws one down with 2 hands, and I'm like, good Lord, like, you know,
like high socks,
like probably in his street clothes for sure. So just
boat shoes,
right. I never lived up to that. You know what I mean? Like I always, you know, I mean, we go out
he's about 6'8".
Yeah,
so
6'5" or whatever. But I go out in the driveway. And I mean, you know, it was. He let me win if I won.
Oh yeah.
I'm just being honest.
But you were a shooter, man. I mean, you developed into a great player. You had a great. We'll talk about this in a minute. But I mean, you had a great high school career. You played the junior college level. You shot the crap out of it, man. I mean, you did well.
Well, as a coach now, it's like I wish I played a little more defense. And I did some other things well. You know, and that's where being a parent now, you look back on the things that you thought you were good at. Man, if somebody told me I need to be better at these other things, I could have been a whole lot better.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and I'll ask you this specifically, Holly. I mean, are there times with Layla that you feel like, okay, I gotta screw the top off the 20-ounce Coke a little bit and back off just a touch, like where I'm putting a little bit too much on her, and she's feeling that. I don't want her to feel that. I want her to be free out there on the court.
Oh, absolutely. And she will tell me. I mean, you know, she'll tell me, stop. You know, and that's when I know, you know, I've gone too far. You know. So there is a fine line between pushing hard and the overkill of, you know, it's too much. And you know, I have. You know, in my life as a player and, you know, now as a coach, you know, I know what that feels like to have the expectations on you and to not be performing to that standard that everybody expects, how that feels inside. You really don't need a whole lot from the outside to tell you, you know, you already know.
Sure.
And so, you know, she knows when, you know, wasn't the best game or she, you know, isn't doing her best. And, you know, for me to just kind of stay on it is overkill. Trying to be better about it.
That's fair. All right, so this is our second time to be here in this facility, you know, over the last year, and we came and did featured athletes a while back with Layla and then Ryan Lemon. So give me an update on my man Ryan. How's Ryan doing?
Yeah, he's had a great summer. Ryan, he leads by example. He shows up every single day. He's without question one of the hardest workers in the gym. He's a gym rat. He gets up at 5 a.m. every day and goes and works out, and then comes to our workouts, and is probably in the gym after we leave. So he's just that guy that's always in the gym. I think he's in Orlando this weekend playing in an AAU tournament. He's gotten some attention this summer. I think he picked up an offer from a Division II school. So he's you know, obviously had a great summer with that, but we're really counting on big things from him this upcoming season.
How do y'all navigate, speaking of AAU, I mean, how do y'all kind of navigate that a little bit? Because that can present challenges, and that's a much bigger deal now than when, I mean, I graduated high school in '94, so I mean, like, we didn't hardly have AAU back then. We were wearing sand net jerseys back then, but I mean, like, you know, how do you kind of navigate that with the AAU coaches and experiences? I mean, really, a lot of these kids are going all over the country with AAU.
Well, so the NCAA has what they call these live periods where coaches can get out and be present at these events. And so the state of Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, most of the southern states, they've put the rules in place for us where we're basically given the month of June, a 3-week period in June, which is a dead period for colleges. So we're able to have some scrimmages, do some play dates, go to team camps, and do a whole lot during that dead period for colleges. And then in July is when the live period picks back up. So then they kind of go back with their AAU teams. So it's good. I think it's good for kids to hear another voice sometimes rather than only hearing you, I think it's good for them, obviously, to get out and see great competition that they're going to see, but also just see how the game is played in other areas, other states, other parts of the country, and sometimes to be coached by different people who maybe stressing different things, and I think the more you can be exposed to, obviously, the better you're going to be.
Do y'all think it fuels rivalries, or do you think it kind of takes away a little bit from rivalry? Because when we were growing up, I mean, it was like when you were playing a team across the county, I mean, like, you didn't really know those people. You didn't play AAU ball with them. You hated them, and they hated us.
Yep.
So how does that work? I mean, do you think that kind of waters down rivalries a little bit, or just a matter of personal opinion?
Yeah, I mean, I can speak on our daughter's team. Obviously, we have made some of the closest friends that we would not know really otherwise, that go to other schools here in our area, and have brought together families that never would have met. I mean, we've got Blunt County and Vestavia City and Trussville City and I mean Jefferson County. I mean, all together kind of in one team for the summer, and I think they support each other during the season. And we will always look to find a game or two of her AAU friends that we can go watch, and so it just depends on the team. I mean, we have been very fortunate to have the same AAU team together for Layla since 7th grade. Some people are on different teams along the way, but it's definitely a chance to just kind of blend different personalities and different talents, and but everybody just loving the game and being together, and our AAU experience has been extremely special.
That's awesome. So I know a lot about Chris as growing up, and I want to stay with you for just a minute and talk about your growing up, and some of that was in Tampa, but you kind of bounced around a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your growing up and your formative years.
Yeah, so my dad is a 30-year Coast Guard retiree, put 30 years into the military, and I was born in Tampa, Florida, at MacDill Air Force Base. And then from there, we were transferred pretty much every 4 years growing up. We lived in California, outside of Washington, D.C. I've lived in Miami, Mobile, Alabama, anywhere near the coast. I tell people Birmingham's the first place I ever lived that didn't have the water nearby. But I was able to finish up my high school years in the Tampa area. Actually, Palm Harbor, Florida, which is near Clearwater. And so, coming to UAB from the Florida area, I didn't really know too much about Birmingham, and really thought I would be here for 4 years, get my degree, head back home. And then, God had other plans, but he threw this really cute boy at me.
There they are.
Junior year, we met. But yeah, I've lived in a lot of places, but I can honestly say, people say, oh, you're from Florida. I've lived in Birmingham and now Gardendale longer than I've lived anywhere my entire life. So,
what part of California did you live in?
Long Beach.
Okay.
Yeah, my sister was born there. He was stationed there for a few years, and my mom hated earthquakes, and luckily I was too little to really understand about that. But yeah, I mean, experiences. I've been to so many different unique places, and gotten to meet so many different people, so many different cultural things that I've gotten to be a part of by living in so many different places. So, I wouldn't change my childhood for anything. And now, my kids are having a completely different childhood. We've lived in Gardendale their entire lives. They've never been to any other schools, lived in the same house. So basically, the way I was raised and grew up, they're having a complete flip opposite, and I see the benefits of that.
Yeah, sure. Now, what's your favorite stop along the way? I mean, California, Tampa,
I don't remember.
DC.
I wish I remembered California more. I probably would have loved it. I'm definitely a beach girl. So living in Miami, Florida, and then the Clearwater area, Florida's probably my favorite. But I was also the oldest when we lived there, so I remember it the most. But yeah, I started my basketball career outside Washington, D.C.
Okay.
So I tell people, if you want to see girls basketball, really, it's unbelievable to me that when I was in 3rd grade, outside of Washington, D.C., trying out for an AAU team of 3rd grade girls with over 300 8-year-olds showing up.
Wow.
And then when we moved to Miami, my parents couldn't find me a team to join. So definitely, I would say there's different places in the country that are more,
basketball centric.
Exactly. Basketball oriented. And outside the DC area was definitely one of those places. So,
what was your favorite thing about Tampa?
I love that, and I take it for granted now. I mean, like, we would just go to the beach after school. We could go, play beach volleyball or go, hang out, just being near the water. And I think, taking him home with me now and him seeing where I, was able to, spend a lot of years, it's just, there's something very refreshing and enlightening. And I mean, but being near the water.
Yeah.
And I think you can't really have a bad day in the sunshine
Yeah.
on the beach. So when I came to UAB, my freshman year, I actually went through a really tough transition period, not having the sun and not having, the water. I took for granted how much I loved that and how much appreciated, having that so easily accessible.
Yeah.
So
Hop in the Jeep and just throw in a little cruel summer, and you're there.
I
So
mean, yeah, very, very, very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right. So one of my first, let's go to Chris for just a second. One of my first memories of you,
Mhm.
you know where I'm going with this. So, like, you started an enterprise when you were so young, and it was, I mean, seriously, it's one of the more impressive things. You started a grass cutting business when you were like 14. I don't know. I mean,
Probably around that age.
so, most people, that are young in Jasper that need a job, they go sack groceries at Sun's.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
but you started your own business. So tell me how that got started.
Well, so obviously my dad, business, he was a banker, his whole career. So my whole, finances, saving money, having money, like we valued earning money and saving money. Like I had a checking account / savings account when I made my first $100. Like we went to the bank and it goes in this
Right.
account, and this is how this works. So my parents having relationships with older people. My dad, my mom would, hey, Mr. Smith down the street, he's old, he's elderly, he needs somebody to go cut his grass. So it started where they would just drop me off. I would use their mowers out of their basement, out of their garage, and I would cut their grass. And I didn't know what I was cutting it for. I might get, a piece of key lime pie or a piece of pecan pie, or I might get $20. Just didn't know. But I was just going to cut grass for these people. And then gradually, as I got older, I bought my first lawnmower and, got a trailer. And then it just kind of grew from there. And, it started, I guess, really, I say big time when I was 16 years old, cutting grass. I had up to, close to 50 yards. I remember, this is no joke, when I started teaching school, obviously went through college, I was still cutting grass, and I started teaching at Maddox Middle School and got my first paycheck. And I'm like, this is what this work looks like. I could be out cutting grass and making a lot more money. It was just one of those things. But so I really just fell in love with it too. It's, I tell people all the time, it's kind of therapeutic just getting out and, not having any stress to really have to deal with people. It's just you're out there and in the sunshine.
Well, and it's just being out in God's creation. Right. I feel like, being able to be close to nature, be in God's creation, I feel like we need that. Being out in the sun. We're so dialed into our phones right now and inside and AC. And it's good to get out and like sweat. And I worked for Pine Valley. I worked at Sun sacking groceries, and I worked at Pine Valley Landscaping my senior year. And man, it was good for me. It taught you the value of hard work and making a dollar and all that. And then you and I have a very kind of unique thing that we share. We both played at Walker High School, and then we played at Walker College. So and you talking about two great influences that we had as coaches, and you've probably heard some stories of Schumacher and Clem, and so I want to start with Schumacher. And then talk about Clem, and obviously, you had a very unique situation with the passing of Coach Clem while you were. But tell me about how those guys influenced your life. Coach Schumacher, your head coach at Walker, and then Coach Clem, your head coach at Walker College.
Yeah, well, so there was that tree of Coach Schumacher playing for Coach Clem, which my dad. My uncle, my dad ended up in Jasper. He came to Walker to play basketball.
Where was he from originally?
He's from Huntsville.
Okay.
And my uncle, Roger, also came to Jasper to play for Coach Clem. So I grew up, all I knew was Coach Clem, the legend that he was, Walker College basketball. And then, of course, fast forward, get to high school, and then Coach Schumacher is my high school coach, and he's a Coach Clem disciple.
Right.
Played and coached. I guess they coached together maybe a couple years after Coach Schumacher got done playing. But just a mentor to me. Looking back on those days as a high school kid, you're really dumb and you don't know what you don't know how good you really have it. You don't really know how good your coaches are. So you kind of take that for granted. But now being in the position I'm in, being an adult and coaching myself, I mean, I was blessed to be coached by the people that I was coached for, with Coach Schumacher and just his knowledge and the way that he handled us and kids, and Coach Medlock too. Vince Medlock was huge. I mean, he was our JV coach,
our 10th grade coach.
Yeah, and Coach Medlock was really, I mean, he was the first because he was the JV coach, and then I mean he was awesome, and I learned so much from him. I mean, that guy, he won every single year. I remember when I was there, I heard a stat that he had never ever had a losing season, and that was like in 1992 or 93, and he had been there for 20 plus years. I mean, he was really, really good, and that chemistry with him and Coach Schumacher, I mean, and then we went on to the varsity, and of course with Coach Schumacher was a great experience and valuable, and I still, things that we did, still use those things today.
So I graduated in 94, and then I played for Clem 94, 96, and then I was at Mississippi State that fall of 96, and I remember exactly where I was when I learned that Coach Clem had died.
Yeah.
And that was October of 96. But you were playing for him.
Yep.
I mean, you were on that team,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, I just left, and it made a huge impact on me. But tell me about how it impacted your team. I mean, like, Robert had to really step in. Coach Epps really had to step in, and this was unprecedented, and this was very unexpected. It was shocking, that he passed away so suddenly. And then, so how did y'all kind of deal with that? And y'all had a lot of talent on that team
it was
too.
a
When
very
you think
talented
about,
team.
Derek Maddox and Mario Duncan and you and other guys like that. So how did it affect the team?
Well, I think obviously it was, like you said, so unexpected. I mean, it was, I want to say, we practiced on a Thursday. Maybe we were off that Friday, or practiced on Friday. We were definitely off that Saturday, and that's when it happened.
Yeah.
He had gone to a Alabama-Tennessee football game, which you know the story, and I guess had the heart attack there. And so we kind of got, it wasn't social media then, or I guess we all started getting wind of it probably the next Sunday morning. And then Coach Epps called us in and talked to the team, and it was just shock. Unexpected. I mean, he's at practice on Friday, and then heart attack and dies the next day. But I can't imagine now just the situation Coach Epps was put in. With being an assistant coach, and now all of a sudden here I'm the head coach, and I'm kind of by myself because there was really nobody else on staff.
And you're right there on the cusp of the season. I mean, the season's starting in November.
Yep,
So I mean,
So official practice, I think maybe starting that Monday, the next Monday, and it was like you're doing the preseason stuff, working out and doing all that, but it was, I mean, it was just a complete shock, and but Coach Epps, being the man that he is, I just remember him calling us all in and talking to us, and it's just comforting to hear him. I mean, he obviously had the right words for us as 18, 19-year-olds, and he, to this day, I mean, you talk about mentors. Coach Epps is somebody that I talk to quite often, and the time that I spent with him, the 2 years I spent with him, was invaluable.
Yeah, man, I was going through a little bit of a rough patch a few months ago, and I happened to be on the phone with Coach Epps. We were talking about doing this Coach Clem documentary, and we were just talking, and I was sharing some stuff with him, and part of that was about losing my parents, losing both my parents, and I was talking to him and just kind of poured my heart out to him a little bit, and he said, hey man, I care about you, I love you, man, and it was like, when he said that, I realized that there's times in our lives when, like, we don't realize how much people care about us. And when he said that, I mean, he and I have always had like a great, friendship, and from a professional standpoint as well, we've had a great relationship. But just to kind of realize that, and that's good, because a lot of times you tend to think, like, sort of in a cynical way, like, who does really care about me? But then the flip side of that is, here's a situation where this guy I've known for a long time is able to say something, and it really meant a lot to me. So, to your point, but so you finish at Walker College, you go to UAB.
And you brought up the lawn service. So during that time, obviously I played for 2 years and was a role player. Wasn't there maybe could have been some opportunities to go walk on somewhere. And then I'm like, I think I'm just going to go to school.
Yeah.
Not sure. I think I want to coach. I think that's what I want to do. But at the same time, I'm making pretty good money with this lawn service thing. And so my parents were like, hey, you're going to go to college. You're going to get a degree. And
so there was a point there where it was
doing
so well.
Who really wants to go to school? You know what I'm saying? Who really wants to go to school? And financially, you're doing okay. And so, I guess took the wisdom from my parents, and I did. I enrolled at UAB and didn't quite know what I wanted to do. Knew I wanted to coach, but didn't know what route teaching-wise.
Yeah.
So we kind of figured out, talked to some academic advisors, and figured out, hey, I think physical education would be something. Even talked to Coach Epps back then, and Coach Epps was a PE major, and so I kind of figured PE was the route I was going to go. And so when you're PE major, you take a lot of sports classes. So one of the first classes that I had to take was a basketball class. So back then we were on quarter, so UAB didn't start until September. So we're in a basketball class, and what do we do the first day is, it's like basketball camp, Al. You got one of the GAs who's teaching the class. He takes us out there on the court, and we're doing basketball skills and drills, and not that I was great.
Three-man weave.
Well, yeah, and but obviously I'd been doing this my whole life, and he comes up to me after. He's like, you played before, haven't you? I'm like, yeah, I played at Walker College, and of course, Coach Clem being the legend that he was, Coach Epps having the connections that he had. You played for Coach Clem and Coach Epps, and they were recruiting Mario Duncan, Derek Maddox, so they were recruiting those guys actively, and so we built a connection. And they're like, hey, how would you feel about joining our staff? It's like, at the time they were in need. They had just lost 2 guys, so that we're really in need of some guys.
Was Bartow the coach?
Murray Bartow was the head coach.
Murray.
Matt Bowen was he was the graduate assistant. So Matt was who taught the class. And so Matt said, hey, let me take you over to meet Coach Bartow. And, of course, I'd grown up going to Murray Bartow basketball camps.
Yeah.
Had been to the Colonnade camps that he would work at Indian Springs. So he didn't know me, but the connection with Coach Clem and Coach Epps. And so for 2 years I worked with the men's basketball team at UAB.
Yeah.
Just out of not something I pursued, but just being in a basketball class and building a connection with Matt Bowen. And I did that for 2 years. And thought there was a time where that's what I was going to do. I was going to stay with college and try and do that. But then I met this girl next to me, and that kind of changed my plans.
Yeah, all right. So I've got a question now. I read your article that we did in 78 Magazine that Steve Rizzo wrote, and I need to get more details on this about how you actually spotted her, because my understanding from this article was that there was a poster.
Yep.
And so you saw her on the poster, okay, and then you kind of maybe put a little bookmark there that that might be a nice young lady that I need to meet. Okay, so now did you kind of work angles to get to, how did that occur where y'all two kind of came together?
Yeah, and you were right. It was a poster. First it was a picture. So you walk in Bartow Arena back then, they had pictures like, I want to say not Polaroids, but pictures that they had taken of academic honor roll, UAB academic honor roll. So they had different pictures up. And there was a picture of this girl's basketball player named Holly Holland. And I'm like, oh, she's kind of cute. Well, then fast forward, it's September, probably October, and they come out with their schedule poster. You know how they come out in the preseason with a picture of a men's player, a picture of a female player. Well, this one had, I guess, the team picture of the girls' team. And I see the poster, and I'm like, looking through. I'm like, hey, 24 there in the middle. Yeah, she's kind of cute.
24.
Yeah, so I tell my roommates, and somehow we ended up with one of those posters in our apartment. And I tell my roommates, I said, say, see 24 on that poster? I said, I'm going to date her. And so fast forward, working with a men's team, I built relationships with some of the girls that were working with the girls' team. And Tequila Wimberly was a student trainer on the girls' side. So I met Tequila. I said, hey, I need you to introduce me to Holly.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah. I mean, you're working angles, man. You're putting in work.
See,
I like it.
People don't know pre-social media.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah. Was to meet people.
Yeah.
But I actually got a message on my answer machine. We had a tournament in Cancun that year, and Tequila had mentioned his name, or she just asked, did I have a boyfriend? Because this guy was asking about me, and I said, no, I don't have a boyfriend, whatever. But she didn't really tell me his name or anything. And then it was not long after we got back from the Cancun trip, I had a message on my dorm answering machine. And I shared that dorm with one other player. And we came home, we listened to the answering machine message, and I had to play it like 5 times. I tell people because I knew immediately that this was going to be who I was going to marry because he said, "This is Chris Berry." And in my mind, I said, "I'm going to be Holly Berry." And I told my roommate, I was like, "This is probably who I'm going to marry because I'm going to be Holly."
Now, had you spotted him? Did you know who he was, kind of?
My friend Brandy Stalling, still one of my best friends to this very day. Brandy was a PE major, and so she already had a lot of classes with him. So when Tequila was
Okay.
kind of throwing out this guy that was
Yeah.
asking about me, Brandy right away stepped up and said, "Oh, I know who that is.
Okay.
We've had some classes."
Confirmed that he
together."
was cute too.
Yes,
Okay. Yeah.
confirmed that he was cute,
Right, good.
and they pointed him out to me, at a function, something, because we would pass each other in Bartow Arena. The boys would practice, we would practice. So, definitely caught my eye
Yeah,
as well. But,
okay.
But yeah, knowing his last name was Barry,
Yeah.
I just knew.
Sure.
I knew it.
Now, what Golden Corral did he take you to on your first date? I know he's a big GC fan. So
Well, I mean,
where was the
who
first
doesn't
date?
love
Yeah,
the
right,
crowd?
right.
No, I think we went to a movie.
We did.
We went to see Patch
Patch
Adams.
Oh my goodness.
Terrible
Okay.
movie, by the way.
Yeah.
Movie.
Yeah.
Horrible first date movie.
Okay.
But I remember it was raining, and he dropped me off, at the curb, whatever, and I mean, just such a gentleman. And,
Yeah.
I definitely, I was in love really fast.
Did he drop hints about the grass cutting enterprise, or did he?
This is a great story. I didn't know anything
I'm gonna come back to what you're about to say in a second.
Okay,
but
that's all right. Go ahead.
So here's what
Okay.
he didn't know. He had a nice little 4Runner car, right?
A Susie
A
Rodeo,
Susie Rodeo, sorry.
not a
Okay.
4Runner.
But one day on one of our
Wait a minute, Suzu.
Isuzu,
Isuzu.
Isuzu
Okay,
Rodeo.
okay.
Yeah, Isuzu. I don't even know if they still make cars.
Well,
anymore,
I
but
mean, gosh,
Rodeo.
it's love at first
It was a
sight,
knockoff
and
of a Honda Passport, if you
Right.
remember the
Yeah.
Isuzu
Oh,
Rodeo.
yeah.
But
Absolutely.
we happened to open his glove compartment one date or one time and it was just full of checks and cash. And I remember going home and telling my roommate, "I hope he's not like into drugs."
Yeah.
What's money? What is it? And it was
He's got a bankroll in there. Yeah.
It was money and checks that he hadn't given to Alan yet to put in the bank. And I just remember I saw that and I closed it back down and I thought, "Oh, please, Lord, please don't let this be anything." But then I found out about the lunchers. I'm like, "Oh, that makes so much sense." So yeah, he did not do a great job keeping up with his earnings. He just shoved them in the glove compartment. So I'm in charge of our finances
Yeah.
at home now.
Yeah. Yeah. Alan didn't rub off on him too much, Yeah.
He just took care of it, so he didn't have to. So anyway, but
I got to tell the story about Alan. So I was trying to buy a Chevy Tahoe one time. Have I told you this story?
No.
So I was trying to buy a Chevy Tahoe one time. I was in love with this champagne Chevy Tahoe. I forgot what year this was, but it was like 2007 or something like that, or 6, or And so we go to Bank of Walker County to get a loan from Alan. And we're upstairs. It's me and my dad and Alan. We're sitting in there in his office, and Alan's just kind of like, I don't know. And so all of a sudden, Big Al just leans over and gets right up, looks at Alan, and just goes, "Just do it, Alan." And Alan was like, "Okay, I'll do it." And that's my Alan Berry story. And then, of course, he rented from us at the Blanton Annex. He used to have that little office right there at the Blanton
yeah,
Annex. So.
got you. Yeah.
But I'll always remember that story. That was hilarious. That was a classic Big Al.
Yeah.
Just do it, Alan.
Just do it.
yeah.
That's fine.
So let's get back to the dating life. Okay, so y'all, this was like 99 when y'all are dating. Okay, and then y'all get married in 2001.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, y'all look like y'all are about 25.
Thank you.
So I mean, like,
We'll
to
take-
think that y'all have been married for 24 years is really incredible to me. I mean, I look like I'm about 80. So I mean,
No, you
I'm
don't.
like,
No, you
my
don't.
hair, I have to grow it out.
Well,
to,
that's
like,
why I
kinda-
shaved mine off.
Yeah, deceive people a little bit, and my wife's like, "Gosh, you're going gray," But anyway, but y'all been married for 25 years,
Yeah.
24,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah. August will be 24. Yeah.
Y'all seem like y'all are still going real strong. You know?
Yeah, I mean,
I hope we are anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. I think obviously, our common interest, which, was right out of the gate. We started dating in '99. My team, UAB team, made our Sweet 16 run my senior year, and he was a huge part. I tell people all the time, his first coaching job was with me because I needed that extra. Motivation and inspiration. And, we start dating. He's a gym rat. He's taken me to get extra shots up. He's kind of that person I needed at that time to really power through. I'd had a couple knee surgeries, knee injuries, could have easily hung it up, at that point. But him coming into my life when he did, I feel like really helped me to end my basketball career the strongest way possible, which was, like I said, we made it to the Sweet 16 of the NCAA tournament, and he got to be a part of that. There with me. But definitely having that, sharing that time, having our common love of basketball and everything outside, we'll ride bikes and, go on walks and, we bought kayaks. I mean, we have that outdoorsy kind of thing in common, and he can't sit still for 5 minutes. He's got to be go, go, go. And, it's definitely been, something that I feel like, has helped our relationship in so many ways. We didn't have kids. We got married and didn't have kids for 7 years.
Wow.
So we just shared a lot of time together, teaching school, and then, spending our time off together and building the relationship that, we started as kids. And it was not until we were 30 years old that we had Layla. So, yeah. And
Wow.
I think that definitely helped us have that strong relationship first before becoming parents, because becoming parents takes a lot of your attention from each other,
Yeah.
and puts it on the kids. So.
It's really incredible that the Lord has brought y'all together at the same place. I mean, you have the boys' job, you've got the girls' job, and like y'all are in the same place because like that job, might not be open, and or your job may not be open, but like. And what people see is, kind of that final product, like, y'all are the head coaches now, but there's a whole journey for y'all, and I want to talk about yours for a minute, Chris. I mean, like, you talk about being at Bragg, being at Tarrant, Oakman. I mean, there's a whole journey there before you get to Gardendale.
Right.
What are some of the highlights of that journey, and then what are some of the things that just kind of stick out along the way that kind of help you become the coach that you are now?
Yeah, so that journey that you're talking about, obviously it started. Well, my first job was at Maddox Middle School.
Yeah.
So I graduated. She had finished a year before me, and she was going back taking master's class at UAB, and I taught for 2 years at Maddox Middle School. Worked with Thad Burgess. I was the 9th grade coach for a year, and then I was the middle school coach. Took over for Greg Tinker, who is another legend.
Yeah.
I mean, like I just been around a lot of really good people that have shaped me into what I am. But yeah, so that was my first coaching experience, and first job was 2 years there, and then we go back to her hometown of the Tampa area, and I taught for a year there, and then we moved back up here. Didn't really have any connections with job options. She had landed a job over in Hoover at an elementary school, and there was a job open at Bragg Middle School. And I didn't know much about Gardendale at the time, other than growing up in Jasper where it was, but didn't know much about the city itself. And got the job at Bragg Middle School and fell in love. We moved out here, bought a house, and was there for 9 years and fell in love with the city, the people. And I said then, hey, if this varsity job ever comes open, man, I want to be here. This is a place I want to be. I could see raising my family here, my kids going to school here. It's just one of those places where when you have kids, you want to be in a place where you feel like you can raise your family and to be able to work, coach, teach at the same place that your kids go to school, that you would feel comfortable sending your kid to school is something that's pretty special. So this was, for me, a job that had always been my dream job.
And you've got Jasper and Gardendale have a little bit of a connection. I mean, Jimbo Cunningham's got, he lives here, and Justin Parrish, and there's there's kind of people, a little bit of a Jasper. Some people from Jasper go to church in Gardendale. So I mean, it's they're kind of sister
Right.
cities in a
They
way.
are.
So,
A lot of similarities, in my
Yeah.
opinion. Yeah.
yeah. Now tell us about your journey. I mean, getting to where you are as a head coach.
Yeah, I was never ever in this for coaching, and everybody that knows me knows that. Obviously, we got married. I had a broadcasting degree. I thought I was going to be a sports broadcaster, and I did get to do a little bit of that. When we first got married, I did a little bit of color commentating along with the amazing Kurt Bloom, who is my longtime friend. He was our radio broadcaster when I played at UAB, and then kind of took me under his wing after I graduated, and got to do a lot of stuff with him. But decided I didn't want that as a full-time profession. So, like he said, when he started teaching at Maddox, we got married, and I went back to school, and I got my master's in elementary education, and just wanted to be an elementary school teacher. So, teaching. I was his bookkeeper when he was coaching. Obviously we would break down, the games together. I was kind of a unpaid assistant coach, but I was never had any desire to be a head coach. And so it wasn't until Layla really started showing a love for basketball, early elementary school years, that I kind of got thrown into the fire. First through upward, basketball, and then park and rec. And then that kind of snowballed into what it has today. And just honestly, my total motivation for coaching, it has nothing to do with me, my record, and my accolades as a coach. I could care less. I want to give the girls the experience that I had and wished I'd had along the way in different, environments. I've had some great coaches, and I've had some rough, experiences, and I just feel like girls play sports for the camaraderie. For the most part, they want to be part of something. They are willing to do whatever role you have for them, whether it's just cheering from the bench, or high-fiving, or getting out there and really producing on the floor. They just want to be part of the team. And so I feel like my job is just to make sure that it's a fun experience, and that they get out of it the life skills that they're going to need, because there is so much crossover from being a athlete into your real life, being a wife and a mom and a employee. All the things that I took away from my time as a player, I tell them, if you can push through this when you don't feel like showing up, but you still show up because people are counting on you. Or the outcome wasn't what you wanted, but you powered through, but you encourage somebody else. Or those are all things that will benefit them, whether they play in college or not. So I got into coaching really just to make it a fun, enjoyable experience, and to try to impart some of the things that I learned along the way. But yeah, don't ask me what my overall coaching record is, because it's pitiful. It really is. Took over this Gardendale team and didn't win a game for 2 full years.
Oh wow.
So, I've had many people tell me, you'll never get a better job. Your resume is not good enough to be. I'm not looking for that, and I don't care.
Yeah.
What I can tell you is we won 20 games last year, and that I've seen massive improvements in every girl that has come, across my path. I have girls come back and see me that have graduated, that were part of those winless teams, but they still, come around and support and see now some of the things I was talking about. That
Yeah.
And I think that's any coach that really is in it for the
And
right
that's
reasons.
what really matters. I
Yeah.
mean, but it's good that you've got that perspective, because I joke, and I'm a former coach, but when I talk to a coach, within 5 seconds they're going to start talking about their team. And it's like it can get to a level of idolatry very, very quickly, and that's really one of the reasons why I had to get out of it. I mean, it was like everything I wanted to talk about or think about was basketball, and just kind of have that perspective that hey, it's important. I want to teach some life skills, but it's not the most important thing in the world. I think that's a neat perspective. All right, so y'all got 2 other children, Bryce, who's 14, Miles, who's 12. Tell me about those boys. I want to know what they're into.
They're into everything, season to season, sport to sport. They obviously have no choice but to play basketball. They play basketball, but they also play baseball, flag football, and Bryce runs cross country. Did last year at the middle school. So, they're sports nuts as well. Big thing now is and you'll love this, but they have our neighborhood. We have a wiffle ball league.
Oh wow!
So they have created this summer a wiffle ball league, and that is what
they created it.
They created it. Yes,
See, they're enterprising.
They created a wiffle ball league. We have a tennis court, and
entrepreneurs.
And they don't play tennis, but they use the tennis court for a wiffle ball field, and they go up there every day, and they have a league. They video the games. It's a big deal. So yeah. So that's what they've been into all summer.
So do they like to go to ball games and things like that? Do they go to basketball games or Major League Baseball games or anything? What are they?
Yeah, so
they watch it. They
love
into
it. Love it. Baseball, basketball. Bryce is now in middle school playing for the middle school. He played baseball for the middle school. He plays basketball for the middle school. Miles is not old enough to do that yet, but he has his own rec teams, and they're either in a gym, on a field, all the time, 5 days a week probably.
That's awesome. So they're somewhat consumed by sports.
Oh yeah.
Somewhat,
okay.
Yeah.
That's neat. What are some things that y'all like to do as a family? What family time in the Berry household? What's that like?
Family time. What do you?
Family
we watch a lot of
vacation,
sports. We watch a lot of
okay.
sports. I mean,
Okay.
obviously, but we like the Tampa Bay Rays.
Okay.
Her dad. So that's when we started dating in 1999. The Rays started in 1998. So that's when the Rays obviously became the Tampa Bay Devil Rays back then. So started going to games when I would go down and visit her and her parents, and her dad had season tickets. So the kids have grown up going to games their whole lives, and so we're big Tampa Bay Rays fans. So this time of year, if it's in our house and the Rays are playing, then we've got the Rays game on, watching Rays baseball.
Yeah.
So here's my question about Tampa. Like, are they going to get another field? Like, are they going to, is it Tropicana? Are they still at Tropicana?
Yeah, technically, but the hurricane that came through back, was that the spring? When was that?
Last fall.
Okay.
Yeah, like October
so
last year.
they're actually playing this season at Steinbrenner Field, which is where the Yankees are training. But I think the intention was to, just fix up Tropicana Field and take it back there. But your loyal, diehard Rays fans want to get something on the Tampa side. And I don't know. They just got new ownership, right? So some things could change, but yeah, it's been kind of interesting. The Tampa St. Pete area is interesting. Because it's not really. I mean, they're separated by about 45 minutes across a bridge.
Yeah.
And, the Tampa and the St. Pete sides both support the Rays, but it's difficult to do with the transportation.
Yeah.
So.
I was talking to a buddy of mine. He was working in the Orlando area. He was a baseball coach down there, and we were talking about when we talk on the phone, we talk baseball, and I was just like, why don't the Rays get like an outdoor stadium? He was like, it's too hot, and I was like, well, I mean, it's hot in Atlanta. Is it that much hotter?
Humidity is insane
in Tampa.
It's so hot, and the rain every day this time of year. The summer rain patterns make it really tough. To not have an indoor stadium.
Yeah, it's definitely something people, unless you live down there, it may say the same temperature as Atlanta, but it's gonna, the feels like, and like you said, the humidity.
Yeah. So it requires an indoor stadium. I mean, almost.
People they just had an op-ed in one of the newspapers down there, and it was like an apology to Tropicana Field, because now that they're having to go to Steinbrenner for all these games, the people that were complaining about the stadium realize how good we had it in the controlled climate of Tropicana Field.
Yeah.
So
have y'all been able to go to many games down there, or do y'all go to spring training or go to Bucks games? I mean, that's.
Well, Bucks always falls during school, so that's tougher. But we were married for 7 years before we had kids, so we would basically spend our summers we would spend a month of our summer down there. So yeah, we would be lots of Rays games. And then back then tickets are pretty easy to come by because
Can suit. Get into the Devil Rays games. They were horrible.
Yeah. So they've gotten better. Obviously, I guess 2008 they went to the World Series, and that was the year Layla was born. So the kids only know them as being good and competitive, but back from '98 to 2008 they were
Yeah.
the worst.
Why did they drop it's just Rays now. I mean, it's not Devil Rays. When did they drop the Devil Rays?
Yeah.
Was that
right before 2008?
Yeah, I think it was 2007 was the last Devil Rays season. Yeah.
So
now I got to admit something. This is not going to be good, but I'm a Yankees fan.
Oh.
So I mean,
yeah. We hate the Yankees.
I figured that was coming.
Yeah,
but,
they actually have more fans at the Rays home games, because that is a huge snowbird retirement area.
Absolutely.
And so, my parents actually stopped, going to games because it was so frustrating to actually be a Rays fan and be at your home game and be drowned out by, the
But
Yankees.
the Rays had the Yankees number for a couple of years ago. Like the Yankees could not beat the Rays.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like 25 out of 26 times. They dominated the Yankees.
Come a very long way, very long way. So it's amazing with the payroll. If you ever do the payroll comparison, that it's amazing that we're even in the game.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so this is my last question for you guys. I know we got to get out of here, but this is not. I'm not a counselor here. So when I ask this question, I don't want y'all to think about that from that standpoint. But Holly, what I'd like for you to do is give Chris a compliment about something he does extremely well off the court, and then Chris, I'd like for you to do the same for her. So
Okay.
So this man is the hardest working man that I know. I mentioned that I used to teach elementary school, but for the last year, I have stopped teaching. I'm just coaching to be a better mom and a better wife, be able to devote more time to things around my house. And I can only do that because of how hard he works. He takes care of our family to a point that, we don't have to worry about anything. And I mean, he just is. He takes that work ethic into everything he does, his coaching, his teaching, but around our house, he takes care of his family extremely well, and my kids know what hard work is because of him.
that's awesome. All right, big guy.
Well, just the mother that she is, obviously a great wife to me, and I told you when I saw that poster, like, man, that girl, and then she was even more than just the pretty girl in the poster, like that. Obviously, how many guys get to be married to somebody who loves sports and loves basketball, and like that is a blessing. But just the way she juggles being a coach. She taught for 15 years as an elementary teacher, and then is still able to come home and do the things that she does as a mom, as a wife, the laundry, cook. I mean, all the things that she does for our family is, she's just the hours that she puts in, that she devotes to making sure that our boys are where they need to be, with lunches packed, with uniform. Just logistically, just a master at that. And it's definitely a blessed guy.
That's awesome. Old 24.
Yep,
Yeah.
24 coming up August 5th. August 5th.
24 for 24.
I know.
How about that? I didn't
That's
put those
right.
two things together. Yeah. Well, all right, y'all. Well, hey, listen, this has been awesome. This has been so much fun. It's good to get to know you a little bit better. And of course, you and I have known each other for such a long time. And I wish y'all the best of success. I know you don't care, but I know you want to win 20 this year. So, so absolutely. So, best of luck to y'all. We really appreciate y'all coming on.
Thank you, Al. Appreciate you having us. Appreciate it.